forward.
Go.
Okay. Right folks, what I want to do now is introduce you to all the tools that you're going to be using today so you can use them all safely. So I'm going to start off with, we might not necessarily be needing this today, but I'll tell you about this as this is one of the tools that you will use in conservation work time and time again. This is the tool that causes more injury than any other tool I use, because what will happen, I guarantee you'll do it at least once in your conservation career. You'll think, we'll start sawing and you'll think, oh, this is lovely, this is going really well, and then the thing will jump and jab you in the back of the hand. Anybody done that? Anybody had that experience? Yeah, so you'll end up with a cut in the back of your hand. What sort of tool is this?
Bow saw.
This is a bow saw. This distinguishes itself from a hacksaw, a panel saw, all the other different sorts of, there's a whole range of different sorts of saws, but this is the saw you want when you are outside working with either green or dry wood. The blade, there are two different patterns of bow saw blade, of which I haven't got both sorts here unfortunately. This is the standard tooth, which is actually designed for cutting dry wood. There's another pattern which has alternate teeth with two teeth on, and they're slightly twisted, and that opens up a wider gap, and that's known as a peg tooth, and that is better for green woodworking. So if you're buying yourself a replacement blade and you're going to be working outside with green wood, peg teeth are the ones to go for. You can buy differing qualities of bow saw. This is a top quality bow saw that we've had for years and years. I know and love this one. This one is a poor quality bow saw. Okay, what things immediately spring out as being different between those two saws? Okay, you've got a handle there to protect your fingers from slamming into a branch while you're sawing. There's something else as well about the construction.
The tension on the saw.
Right, two things actually. The Bahco saws are oval in cross section, which gives them extra strength. These circular ones, what tends to happen over the years is they bend there, because they've already been bent there, and that bends, and then they get soft, they get looser and looser, and the blade starts to flex. The other thing you'll notice is the shape of them. That's triangular, and that has a slight raise there, and that's quite a deliberate thing, because if you're trying to cut through quite a thick branch, very quickly what will happen is that there's a whole bit there that you won't be able to use, because you can only get your saw along there, so you end up only using half the blade, so you end up with a blunt bit and a sharp bit here. So the idea of that is that will give you the opportunity to use much more of the bow saw blade. So when you're using the thing, what I want to see you do is very gently have a good few strokes like that to get a nice deep cut, so that once when you start sawing, the saw doesn't jump out and jab in the back of the hand. Okay. Nice long strokes as well. I don't want to see anybody do this. Gentle long strokes, and that will do all the work for you. You will come to know and love bow saws. You'll use them lots of times. When you're not using them, what should you do with it?
Yeah.
When you finish using it, you're switching to another tool. Don't. What I do, I once did.
Yeah.
Like that, because there's a whole manner of things which can go wrong there. You can turn around and jab yourself on it, obviously. Also, they're quite easy to lose when they're hung up. So if we can have a central tool place where we store them, bring them back to that. I once was having lunch in Tahiti with a group like yourselves, and suddenly noticed hanging up in a tree where we were sitting having our lunch was a bow saw, and we'd left there 2 years before. Sitting on the tree. So yeah, easy to miss. So leave them on the floor. When you're walking around carrying these things, make sure, this is a general principle for all tools, you generally want to be carrying them by your side with the business end either down or forwards. What you don't want to be doing, you probably won't do this with bow saws, but you don't want to be carrying stuff over your shoulder. There is a temptation with some of the larger tools to have them over your shoulder. So tools like, look, can I have one of those long, sharp jabbing things? Yeah, one of those is about to tip over. One of those things, yeah. This is what we are going to be using a lot of today. Who knows what this is?
Bill hook.
It's not a bill hook. Bill hooks have a short handle. This is known as a slasher. There's a whole range of different patterns of slashers, as there are bill hooks. But if you've got a long handled blade like this is a slasher.
There's a billet.
There's a bill hook. Danny has a bill hook, yes. So, this tool, this
Told you
is
the car
mainly
drives are
used
interesting.
for swinging and clearing things like those brambles there. This will be the ideal thing. You want to make sure when you're swinging this, you don't lose grip. So I don't want to see people wearing gloves when they're using this. You get a much better grip with your bare hand. I have once seen somebody lose one of these while they were in the process of slashing, and this flew through the air like a kung fu ninja weapon, and luckily landed in the brambles, but you wouldn't want to have that flying through the air and hitting the back of the head particularly. So, safe working distance if you're swinging this thing should be what? Twice. That's the thing I want to hear you say, twice. All swinging tools, the safe working distance is twice the tool. This is where you can see how high I'm at for. Twice your arm and the tool from the next person. So Jackie is just about at the limit of nearness there. So that's about the distance you want to be from the next person. Okay. It's the same for anything swinging, so bill hooks and everything else. The rule of thumb is twice your arm and the tool length away. I'll give you a little demonstration of how to use this in a minute. So, how do you walk around carrying it?
Over your shoulder.
Plenty of nasty accidents there. So, not over the shoulder, by your side, business end down. And I would say the safest thing to leave that when you're not using it is flat on the ground. Okay, next tool. Again, you will use these time after time after time in conservation work.
Loppers.
Loppers. Long-handled loppers, occasionally I've heard them called. Bypass loppers. They're called bypass loppers because these ones have two blades that pass one another in a kind of scissor action, and these are the ones I prefer. You do get some that have an anvil, a flat piece of metal with a blade that comes down onto and cuts against the blade. Usually those have a compound action pivot, which means that you can get more force, but you end up having to move your hands a long way. So these are the ones I prefer. Again, you get what you pay for with these, and so I've recommended that when in college, when we buy new ones, we tend to go for the Barco ones. These are about 50 quid a pair, so these are decent ones and last a good long time. There's some here that we've had for, I think I bought these ones about 10 years ago, and they're still growing strong, lovely and sharp. Right, how thick can you cut with those? What sort of size up to? The thumb is the recommended maximum size, so thumb size. Anything bigger than that, you're into bow saw territory. So what I would recommend with these is, yeah, up to thumb size. Carry them by your side like that.
Can you do that?
I think that would be a bit daft. I have injured myself actually once when somebody hung one of those up on a branch. They hung them over a branch like that, and then I lifted it up and the thing swung shut and caught my fingers. So again, leave them on the ground when you're not using them. So, loppers. What other things might we use today? Come out. Haha, excellent. It's not a pick, it's a mattock. Okay, picks have a thin blade and a thin point on the other side, usually used for broken up ground. This is a great digging tool. If you're trying to get trees out, this is the tool that you want to dig with, and I'll show you later on how to take a tree out. Good digging side there, and for grubbing through roots on the other side. So, mattock, very useful tool. Again, carry it by your side on the ground when you're not using it. There's a whole range of tools here which will take me ages to talk you all through, but I think the only ones we're going to need to mention today that you might end up using are, if you've got a shovel, what do you say called a shovel?
Shovel.
There's a, that's a spade. What's the difference between a spade and a shovel?
The spade to dig in, shovel to shovel.
Yeah, shovels for shovelling. Yeah. So, I think when I came down to Cornwall, I don't think I'd seen a Cornish shovel before.
Long-handled.
And they're fantastic bits of kit. I've started putting long handles on things like forks at home, and they work really well with a long handle. So, yeah, this is a digging spade. not much to say about that. I'm sure you've all used a spade before. The recommendation in the BTCV book is when you're treading on it, my shoelaces and that, when you're treading on it, not to use that part of your foot, which everybody wants to do. Right? Apparently that bit you're less likely to hurt yourself. And obviously don't do that kind of, it's not going into the ground, so I'll jump into it. Yes, I must admit having done before. So, more useful, I think, particularly today, is a Cornish shovel. Again, you don't want to be carrying this over your shoulder because there's potential for whacking somebody on the head with it over your shoulder, and I've seen that happen. In terms of using it, the great thing about the Cornish shovel is you've got a lot of leverage there. So if you're digging with it, if you're shoveling a pile, you can get into it, and then you've got that leverage there. And also another thing that you can do is you can use leverage over your leg. What you want to try to avoid doing is if possible, when we're shoveling stuff like well, the chippings are fairly light, so we should be alright today with those. If you're shoveling heavy stuff, what you don't want to end up doing is twisting and extending your arm, extend the weight on the shovel. It's quite a force on your back, so you want to try to use that leverage if at all possible. How would you leave that when you're not using it?
Stuck in the ground.
It's probably better either stuck in the ground, or if you're going to lie it down, not laid down like that. Lay it down like that. There's lots of comedy potential if it's laid down like that. Okay. What else have we got? I think I might stop there and actually give you some tasks to do, because I think that'll do it. Oh no, one more tool. It's a fork. What sort of fork is it?
Pitch.
A pitchfork. Okay, pitchfork. Very useful for shifting stuff. So again, maybe useful for shifting that stuff we've got today. If we're clearing brambles, you can use them for dragging the brambles together, getting them into a bundle, and then we're going to heat them up into a pile. Again, the main injury, I guess, is if you've got them over your shoulder, and when you're not using them, you want them laid down like that or stuck in the ground. Not like that, please. Right, that'll do, I think. I've got a couple of other things to play with later on, like the scythe there, which I want to show you how to use that. But what we'll do is we'll get some warning signs up either end of the work site. I'll allocate different roles to different people. I'm a first aider, so if anybody injures themselves, you can tell me and I can apply. I can use first aider. Excellent. I was going to say if we've got any other first aiders, because it's not only you folks, it might be me that gets injured, so you can look after me then. Thank you. If there was an incident there and you weren't with a first aider on site, we have got quite a few first aiders in the college grounds as well, and in the main building as well. Okay, lovely. Right, turn that horrible thing off that's pointing at me. Then I'll suddenly start talking normally.
Lovely.